Grohl, left for dead, but rescued to live. Grohl was discarded like trash, left in the darkness to waste away without compassion. His frail body trembled, his thin skin stretched tightly over prominent bones, a living portrait of extreme neglect. Maggots writhed beneath the thick mats of matted fur, feeding on his already torn flesh. His eyes, barely visible amid severe infections, barely gave any sign of life. The air around him was filled with the suffocating smell of decay, making it impossible to ignore the severity of his suffering. Grohl was unable to move. He was too weak to fight and too broken to even beg for help. It was in this critical state that a kind soul found him, wrapping his small, suffering body in the care he had never received before. We knew time was short. We rushed him to the vet, every second a race against time, praying it wouldn't be too late. When he arrived at the clinic, the diagnosis was devastating. Grohl's heartbeat was weak, held together by a thin thread of life. He was dehydrated, malnourished, and riddled with severe infections. But despite his weakness, there was a spark in his eyes, the will to live. We named him Grohl because he deserved to be known, recognized, and most of all, loved. Grohl was not trash. He was not invisible. And he was definitely not alone anymore. A fight for life. Grohl remained in the emergency room, fighting with every ounce of strength he had left. His body was too fragile to be sedated, so the vets focused on treating the open wounds and life-threatening infections. His left eye was completely blind and in danger of needing to be removed. His right eye, although still somewhat visible, was compromised by chronic ulcers. Maggots had ravaged his groin, causing unbearable pain. In intensive care, he was given intravenous antibiotics, painkillers, and medicated baths that began to ease some of his suffering. Initially, he was unable to eat, but surprisingly, he began to drink water on his own, a small but significant sign of hope. The neglect Grohl suffered took years off his life and health, but we refused to let it define his future. Resolutely, we continued to be by his side, day after day. Small victories, big hopes. As the days passed, Grohl began to show improvements. Small victories, like standing up for the first time or accepting food, became important milestones in his journey to recovery. However, his left eye ruptured again, confirming the need for surgical removal. After a cardiac evaluation, it was determined that his heart was strong enough to withstand the procedure. The surgery was successful. The eye tumor was removed, and although the area around it was still very swollen, the difference in his behavior was remarkable. Freed from constant pain, Grohl seemed more comfortable and was even able to eat dinner on his own that night, a development that filled everyone with hope and excitement. From suffering to forever home, after days of recovery, Grohl finally left the emergency room. He was welcomed into a loving foster home, where he found not only physical comfort, but also the kindness he so richly deserved. In just 12 days, Grohl went from a dying dog, covered in maggots and unable to move, to a warrior resting in a warm bed, surrounded by affection. His resilience is a testament to the power of love and compassion. Grohl has survived the worst, but his journey of healing continues. Every day, he proves that a dog's spirit is unbreakable and that hope can blossom even in the darkest of scenarios. Today, Grohl has found his forever home. His new owners will continue to provide the necessary care, including daily eye drops, to ensure he has the best quality of life possible. It's ironic to think that the unthinkable abuse he suffered was what led him to find true, unconditional love. Now, he has the chance to live happily ever after. We are so grateful to everyone who has helped Grohl on his journey. Every donation, every prayer, and every word of support has made a difference. Grohl is living proof that with love and dedication, even the most tragic stories can have a happy ending